Hello, hello, hello. Happy Mother's Day. This is a tutorial for keep them close. Keep them babies close. So this is the painting that the tutorial is for today. And the best way to watch the tutorial is to watch the whole thing all the way through and then go back and paint the painting. It's kind of hard to paint with me at the same time if you've never done this before. And what I do is I take you Um, a broad overview, not quite step by step, but you'll get a beautiful painting in the end, I promise you. Okay, so this is Paint Party 101. That means I pre-trace the canvas for you. All my canvases are pre-traced because I want you to enjoy the experience. The first thing we do is we get all the colors down, then we work on the details. I'm going to show you how to do the details. I'm not actually going to do it step by step by step, but you'll be fine. I promise you'll be fine. We need to unpack our kit first. So we have acrylic paints here. Acrylic paints wash very easily off your skin, not so easily off your clothes. So you want to make sure that you wear the apron that's in the little Ziploc bag. So we're going to take all the tape off of our paints. And I gave you so many colors because I don't want you to stress out about having to, um, I don't want you to stress out about having to mix your colors, okay? So I am taking all the lids off of the paints and put your apron on, and you will need a cup of water, half full or half empty, depending on how you view the world. Mine's half full. All right. And then this is a baggie that has your reference photo for all the OCD people that are going to try to make it look exactly like this. It's not the objective. The objective is to have a good time. So this is just to help you along. So of course, this is art. You can paint it any way you want, all right? You have a highly absorbent blue paper towel. This white thing is your apron. I am going to use a paper towel. I'm not going to use the apron because I got this cool shirt on. You can't tell if I get it dirty or not, right? And I also put in my schedule of events, the upcoming events that I have for the rest of May. So I hope I see you. All right, let's get into it. So you have these paint brushes here. We're going to open those up. Kind of hard to open. And you have quite a few brushes. We're going to start off by using the biggest one. I always say use the brush that feels comfortable for you. If you look on the back of the brushes, it'll tell you what kind of brush strokes that each one of them makes, which is kind of cool. Um, we're not going to put any water first on the canvas. Sometimes I coat it with water, wait for it to dry and put it and then start painting. But canvases have been pretty good, not too brittle or anything. So I've pretty much been painting just right on them. They're usually treated with gesso. I get my canvases from um, Michaels, in case you were wondering. All right, so this is a painting. This is how we do this. We paint the background first, then we paint, um, get all the colors down, then we work on the details. So I'm gonna wet my brush, and I'm using the biggest brush out of the kit. It has the numbers 5/8. It says 5/8 on it. I'm gonna put some water on my brush. I'm gonna go into my yellow paint, and I'm going to paint the background in yellow. Now, you're going to probably need two brushes. If you can't get, like I usually tell people to outline with a smaller brush, that might be helpful. So you might want to outline with, I like the number 4 brush that's kind of rounded on the top. I just kind of like the way it feels in my hand. So I'm going to outline with that brush because I think that'll be easier for you instead of using that big brush to do everything. And while I'm outlining, another reason why I'm using a smaller brush is because, and I remember I said if you haven't, I wouldn't recommend painting with me. If you do, like put it on pause if you're like stressing out because I'm going too fast. Because I'm going kind of fast because I don't want this video to be like 3 hours long, right? Um, so I'm outlining And then I'm painting in the tight spots. What do I mean by tight? The spots that you can't get with the bigger brush. So that would be this spot right here, and then this place in between here. Doesn't matter really that if your brush strokes don't all go in the same direction, but it's helpful if they do. I'm painting all horizontal brush strokes. I'm switching back to the big brush because I want to cover the surface faster. And if your paint gets a little sticky, you're just going to put a little bit of water on your brush, okay? So these paints, some of the paints come from different companies that I use, so some of them are thicker than others. You should have quite a bit of yellow paint because I put that in there for blending, or if you want to change the colors up in some way. Um, so I'm doing all yellow. I'm even going to paint the sides of the canvas. That's called wrapping your painting. I have my paintings, but my paint, by the way, sitting in this tray that we can also use for mixing. But for Mother's Day, I gave you a cute little paint palette if you want to use that for mixing. I'm not going to use that today, but I try to give you few little extra fun things for Mother's Day. So I am just painting in the background. And if you look at the reference photo, there's a little red at the top, and red as it crosses over this yellow is going to turn into orange. And I didn't have to give you orange, but I did because I'm trying not to stress you out. My paint party's objective is to have a good time. They're not really going to like teach you like different techniques and stuff like that. That just kind of comes organically as you paint more and more. And I hope you paint with me more and more. So again, painting the sides, and I'm going fast just simply for tutorial purposes. This is not how I paint typically, all right? So I want you to maybe put me on pause and take your time as you paint the background in. So the next color I'm going to use is red. When you are changing colors, you're going to wipe off your brush and then put it in the water. It helps your water stay fresher longer. And be nice to your brush when you wipe it off. Don't don't just like, go like this or go like this. Like pick your paper towel up, gently wipe the paint off, swish it around in your water. This is my water cup right here, swish it around, wipe it off again. I'm gonna go into my red paint and I'm gonna put a little bit of red right at the top. And as I want it more thick at the top, a little thicker. And then I'm lightening up a little bit and just kind of brushing it gradually, brushing a little bit down the sides, just a little tiny bit. I don't want a lot. And this is where the blending is going to come in. I'm putting a little bit of, I'll put a lot over there, a little bit of red here and there. Then I'm going to go into my yellow paint, and I didn't even wash off my brush. I just went into my yellow paint. And between the yellow paint and the water, I'm going to blend this red right into the background. It's quite a bit of, I put quite a bit on top of that because I had too much red. Well, there's never too much red, right? I didn't like the way the red, you know, was showing up there. So I put quite a bit over that. Now let's just say you're not into this blending thing and you can't get it and you don't like it. You can go into your yellow, your orange paint and just add the orange on there, but you're still gonna have to do, and that's what I just did there, you're still gonna have to do a little bit of blending. And as I'm looking at the reference photo, I want a little bit more red at the top here. So I'm adding more red just on the very tip of my paintbrush because I want it to be like a gradual effect here. Don't worry about that sun. We're going to paint that sun in last. So something like that. Then the next thing we're going to do is get all the colors out. I'm going to go into green next, the light green. I'm going to wipe off my brush and swish it around in the water. Go into light green. I'm going to paint her entire head wrap green. And then I'm going to choose the places where I'm going to paint it light green later. I'm still working with the big brush, but as we work our way around her, I'm probably going to switch to the number 8 brush because I just like the way it feels in my hand. And this one is kind of, the brushes are like long and hard to control for me. So I'm going to go back to using the number 8 brush. So I wipe that yellow paint off of it. I'm going to paint her head right here. And while I'm painting here, I just noticed I missed a little piece of yellow right there. I'm going to go back and do that in a minute. So, and her skirt. This is fun. I'm going to take my brush and just do lines for her skirt. I'm using that number 8 brush, using the tip of my paintbrush, leaving a little white space between. Start on this side. And I like seeing those brush strokes like that. I think it's kind of fun. So I want to fill up the skirt eventually so there's no white showing through. But right now, I'm just putting a few, and you're going to have to paint around her hand. And then from around her hand, make the brush strokes go out. You with me? I'm going to do that with her dress. I'm going to do the light green first. Then I'm not even going to wash off my brush. I'm going to go right back into the dark green and I'm going to do some light brush strokes here. Not that many. I'm trying to cover up. I don't want to see any white coming through, but I'm going to go back to the skirt maybe later and add later when it gets dry. I don't want it to get muddy. I want you to be able to see the brush strokes. So I'm kind of having fun with it like that. Have fun with it. And then there's different layers on her dress too. Still not even washing off my paintbrush. I'm just going to go in and put a little dark green on there. And if I feel like it's too dark, just add a little bit of the light green. You're going to play with that around with those areas for a while till you get them the way you want. So I'm wiping off my brush again, and I'm going to go into yellow. Swishing around, wipe it off again, going into yellow. And I'm going to paint her choker and her earring. If her earring is not there, you're just going to go ahead and paint the whole, you're going to skip that part. You're going to put her earring in last. If I didn't trace that earring, because some of them I didn't trace, um, you're going to do that last. After you paint her face black, you're going to wait for it to dry. You're going to paint it, like, think of it as like a letter U. You're going to paint it white, wait for it to dry, and then paint over it yellow. I hope that made sense. All right, but we have that there. So then that's the yellow. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this sling for the baby. And as I look at the reference photo, and I painted the painting, so I know it's not just red. It's kind of a reddish orange, like a blood orange, if you will. So in my tray, I'm going to lift a little bit of, or pour a little bit, if you can get it to pour, because the paints are kind of thick. I'm going to scoop out a little orange in my tray. I'm taking all the paints off, so I'll be able to show you a little bit. And then I'm going to scoop out a little red. See, I have orange. Can y'all see that? I have orange and red. And I'm going to mix a little red with my orange until I get the desired level that I want. That looks pretty good. And again, you don't have to do this. Maybe you want to paint it out orange. Maybe you want to have paint it red. It's up to you, but it's really like a blood orange, if you will. And I'm still using a number 8 brush, but again, it's whatever brush feels comfortable to you. And once this dries, that's when we're going to put the designs on it. So there's a method to the madness. We work on different areas of the painting, waiting for other areas to dry, or you can use a blow dryer if you want to speed up the process. All right. My blooded orange sling, and then I'm going to do more designs later. So now I'm going to work on my skirt a little bit because it's been drying and I don't want to have any white space. So I'm going to layer some more of the colors, like more green because it's dried a little bit, more dark green, and just have fun with it. Like I love doing this. And then where I see all this white canvas, I'm going to fill that up with light green and I'm going to let it dry. And then I'm going to go over it later with more. But you really don't want to have any white spaces. All right. So I'm filling up the white spaces and then I'll have fun later by adding more brush strokes. All right. So now we're on to the black. So I'm wiping off my brush. I'm still using number 8 because I like the number 8 brush. But I do see that I'm probably going to have to use a skinnier brush when it gets to our hand. So I'm taking one of these pointed brushes, which is a number 3 brush. And I'm going to use the number 3 brush, put a little water on it because it's a little stiff. Mine's a little stiff. Put a little water on it, go into the black paint. And I'm going to start with her hands. And I need to wipe my brush off because the bristles are like split. And I want them to all be together. So if they're fraying, put a little water on them and bring them together. I want to do her hands. So that's why I changed brushes to the pointed one. And this hand right here, those are the tight spots I want to do. And then her face, and I outline her face a little bit. And you want to be really careful to get this part right because it's a silhouette, so it could look kind of funny if it's not right, right? A little bit of paint at a time goes a long way. I'm going to outline those areas first with any other pointed brushes that you like. Especially a little baby's face. You want to make sure you trace that good, or you could look really weird, you know? All right. Trace. I'm going to completely paint in this hand with the pointed brush just to get it right. Might have to play around with that a little while because that is not how I would exactly want it. So make sure you get your hand the way you want it. I'm going to wipe off this brush and then I'm going to go back to my number 8 brush, or some people like this flat one right here too. It's a number 6 brush. I'm looking for my number. Oh, here it is, number 8 brush. And I'm going to paint in all the black. Now this black paint's a little thick. You might have to add a little bit of water to it to make it flow the way you like it. Again, I'm going fast. You might want to put me on pause. I don't know. Don't freak out. I'm just trying to get to all the steps and leave you alone to your own creativity. These are silhouettes, so you want to make sure that you're covering all the space smoothly, that there's no white canvas coming through. Not too much water on your brush because you want the paint to be opaque, not transparent. But you also have to be careful because you want to keep the shape. Like her arm's actually a little muscular, so I'm gonna come out a little bit more from the tracing. It is Mother's Day Eve in my art center. I'm here a little later than I usually am, but I had to get this tutorial done for y'all. I'm gonna do her face. Once you put the black in, it really starts to come together. And remember, if you don't have the earring, you're gonna paint her whole face black. Paint the earring in with white, let it dry, and then go over it with yellow. And that's kind of like a similar thing we're gonna do for the daisies. I don't know why I didn't paint this part of I missed that yellow part. I think this is yellow right behind her earring. And then this is supposed to be green. All right. So we got all the colors down. And so now we start working on the details. Um, I'm going to go back to the skirt and I'm going to add um, with a different brush because I don't want to, I'm just adding, just grab any brush and add a few more lines, a little bit more color to the skirt. There's even some black lines in the skirt. Just kind of have fun with it. I want to show you how to make a daisy. So we're going to do the yellow part of the daisies. I'm using one of the pointed brushes. You have several. This happens to be the number 3. I'm going to do the daisy here first. I'm going to put some white paint down for the center of the daisy. And then I'm wiping my brush off and I'm going to go right into the yellow and I'm going to paint yellow. I put the white paint down first, kind of like a primer. Can you see that? So let's take some white paint and put where we want the center of our flowers to be. And they're traced for you, so I hope you can see them. Even if you can't, just make some random places for your flowers. Make sure your skirt is dry before you do this, though. I just realized that because my skirt was a little wet because I just added it. I want that to be. So those little white dots are going to be the center of my flower. I put the white down first because I want the yellow to really stand out. You can wait for them to dry a little bit, or you could just put the yellow on there. It's better if they dry a little bit, to be honest with you, but I just want to show you how to make one of the daisies. So I got the yellow down there. I'm going to wipe my brush off. I'm going to swish it around in my water. I'm going to go into the white paint. And because everything around it is dry, I can make my flower. And I'm using the number 3 brush by just making lines around that circle. And if that confuses you, what I want you to do is take the back of your reference photo. We're not going to use white paint because it won't show up on there. Well, we can use yellow for the center. So I'm just doing a circle here. And then I'm going to wipe my brush off. And I'm going to go into green so you can really see it. I'm just going to put a line, 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 and it makes a flower. Now I'm holding it flat. I mean, up like here, this to show you. But if you lay it flat and apply a little bit of pressure, the brush widens a little bit and they really do look more like petals. So just apply a little bit of pressure and then they look more like petals. See that? So Practice on the back of this before you go onto your painting. And you really should wait for that to dry because I'm kind of dripping a little bit here and I don't want that to happen. So I'm putting yellow over here. And when I go to make my flowers, I'm going into the white paint and I'm going just right around each one of those dots. And some are going to be overlapping, but that's the cool part. You'll figure it out. You'll see it as you go along, what I mean by overlapping. And my skirt's still a little wet. So before you do those flowers, I just wanted you to see what it looked like. I should have stopped at that one. Don't do the flowers on the skirt until the skirt is dry. And while you're waiting for the skirt to dry, you're going to work on a different part of your painting, which would be this right here, the sling for the baby. If you look at it, it has orange. So what I'm going to do, I've loaded my paintbrush with quite a bit of orange. This is a number 3, and I'm following the designs. It looks like a zigzag, up and down, up and down. That's what I'm doing here. And then it looks like just some straight lines up and down. And follow that pattern in the little dots. You can switch brushes and go into your black paint. And the dots are just done just like this. Just follow the design or make up your own. All right. So at this point, we look at all the details of the painting. I still want my skirt to dry. I'm going to look at her head wrap first. It has some dark green. You can use any brush. It has a little swirl going on at the top part of it. My brush's bristles are very stiff, so I'll put a little bit of water on it. We got all the colors down. Now we're working out the details. So look at your reference photo and work out all the details. Paint out all the details. There's some details in her wrap. It's like a little swirly line going on there. So I'm just going to do a little swirl like that. Her hat. And her hat. Oh, that's not a hat. That's a head wrap. So anyway, forgive me for saying that. All right, look, it's like 90% done. This is nowhere like your painting should look. It has a lot of work to be done, but these are the basics. All the colors down, then the details. Wait for that skirt to dry before you do these daisies. Now, the next step that we're going to do when you do all the details, you're going to take some black paint and you're going to outline. You're going to outline, and you're going to start from the top here and work your way down the painting. There's actually a little outlining in the flowers too. And it's going to take a pretty steady hand. Some of my ladies cheat and they use a marker, but we're painting. Use a paintbrush. And I'm just going to lightly paint around the daisy and put all the little details in there with a light hand. Wait for it to dry before you put all those details in it, okay? You think you got it? I think that's all the steps you need. The outlining takes a while. If you notice, like around the sling, there's an outline, then there's a heavy white outline. That's like my thing. It might be my signature thing that I do. So that last thing that you're going to do, you're going to wipe off your paintbrush, rinse it out off in the water really good, and you're going to load your paintbrush with quite a bit of white paint, and you're going to do that hard white outline everywhere. I don't know why I like doing that. I just do. I put a hard white outline everywhere. Okay, and there's a really hard one at the top of the baby's sling. And I like to do this last because you want everything to be dry when you do this. And do a little bit around the baby's head. And again, if you get confused, just check out my reference photo or do your own thing. And if I'm going too fast, pause me. Pause me. Okay? There's even a little bit, so you really got to take a look at every area of the painting. There's some white on her dress. There's a little white in her skirt. And when you're doing the outline for the flowers, you may have noticed there's a little bit of brown in the stems here. So when you start outlining those, and the brown is orange with a little bit of black. So I'm going to mix yellow and red, or you could just use your orange. And I'm going to put a little bit of black in it. And if it's too black, you're going to add more yellow to it and you're going to get brown. And that brown color is what we're going to use on the stems there. Okay? Okay. That's it. That's all the steps that you need. I went really fast and I apologize for that, but you have a pause button. Okay? Um, if you get stuck, text me. I would love to see your painting. So text me your finished painting, 702-271-3151. I would love, love, love to see it. I gotta do something special. If you send me your painting, I don't know, I'll do something special. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day. Don't forget to sign and date your painting. I hope you visit me at Angelique's Community Art Center, where I have close to 100 paintings on the wall where you trace and paint, and you can use a YouTube tutorial. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy Mother's Day. See you next time. Bye-bye.